All power! This is a great day. You may all be seated, and thank you so much for the warm welcome. To all those who are watching on television, we also want to greet you this morning in beautiful Cape Town and say to you, we have good news for you. Yeah. And the good news is we are not going to continue sliding down as a nation. A turnaround is coming very, very soon. We are not going to be among those who said they know better than God, they can rule without Him. We say South Africa is in a mess today because of individuals and politicians who think that God does not know politics. And because we know that He knows everything, we are going to rule with Him under His leadership and make South Africa a great country. Well, as we all know, that 25 years have passed since the dawn of South Africa's democratic dispensation with its promises of a better future for all of us. Yet today, we still face glaring injustices and inequality, and many of us still live below the poverty line with little hope of finding meaningful employment. We know that most South Africans feel unsafe. They are afraid of becoming the target of opportunistic criminals who do not fear the law. Now, this is one of the main criticisms that we have against the current government. We have criminals who don't fear the law. One of the promises I'll make is that when we finally have a godly government in this country, criminals will fear the law. We will be hard on criminals, and we will be soft and loving and cooperative to law-abiding citizens. It is time that we hold law-abiding citizens high and thank them for contributing to making South Africa a better country. But for those who continually break the law, we are not going to be your friends. We have to tell all the criminals in Cape Town, in Western Cape, and throughout South Africa that once the ACDP becomes the godly government, we are going to run to other places where you'll be allowed to torment people, to harass people. But here on Khanyaleteka Liso, on Khanyaleteka. Now, we know that we are a political party based on biblical principles, and we do not apologize for that. We are based on biblical principles because we believe God knows more about governance and about people and about politics than all the politicians all over the world. So our dependence is upon Him. We want to make South Africa a model among nations of the world. That when people are touring the world, that they will look forward to going back home. And when they come home, that they will be saying, I'm going to a country that is giving all its inhabitants assurance that you are safe in safe South Africa. You cannot say it today, but we are hoping and aiming to do that one day. Now, obviously, depending on time, our manifesto speaks about 7 giants. Giants that are in the way of prosperity. Giants that are in the way of reconciliation. Giants that are on the way of growth, economic growth. Giants that are in the way of happiness and well-being. So the ACDP that knows about David, who put down Goliath, is facing these giants and saying we are going to bring them all down. Now the first giant I want to refer to is high unemployment and too few job opportunities. To build a South Africa where jobs and opportunities are in abundance, and everyone, especially our young people, benefit, the ACDP will do the following. Firstly, we'll create an enabling environment through infrastructure development, a professional and streamlined public service, good education and vocational training that is relevant to global trends and technological advances. Secondly, we will encourage beneficiation and global branding. We'll promote and foster a culture of entrepreneurship by funding education and training, as well as small business and business incubators. We want to have young people who, when they are in school, finishing their high school, that they will not be thinking about where to apply for a job. But we want to bring a new class of youngsters, high schoolers, who when they leave, because they shall have had vocational training, they shall have been skilled, that they will be talking about starting their own businesses. That is what we are going to do. Our education is going to focus on ensuring that our children are trained and a culture of entrepreneurship is fostered. We are going to link business needs with education. Do not just want to give children education that is not needed by business. That's why we have people who are qualified. And businesses are saying we can't employ them because they are not relevant to our needs. So this is some of the giants. The first giant that we are going to tackle as the ACDP, high unemployment. Young people will be able to start their own businesses. We are going to help them when they look forward to retiring from or getting out of high school. They will be knowing, I'm going to start a business. I'm going to work for myself. You know, the national plan, development plan that we have in South Africa, says by 2030, 90% of businesses in South Africa must be made of small businesses. 90% of jobs must be created by small businesses. Now we are miles away from that because we are depending today on big business. If big business closes, the economy is going to collapse. The right thing to do is for the economy not just to be based and reliant on big business, but our economy must rely, and the National Development Plan says 90% on small businesses. Now, can you imagine if the South African economy relies on small businesses to thrive? How many people will not be in the street corners, but how many people will be in their small factories because they have their own businesses? So our goal is this national development plan of saying 90% of jobs must be created by small businesses. We are planning to do that. We are going to do that by ensuring that our young people in high schools are properly skilled. Our young people are linked. What they are taught is linked with the needs of businesses outside. Now, we are also going to expand the employment tax incentive for businesses. Say to them, if you provide internships to young people, then you're going to get a tax incentive or a tax deduction. And obviously those who are tired of giving all the taxes to government, they're going to say, I'd rather spend my money in helping young people, training young people. And that's what the ACDP wants to do. So this giant of unemployment, we are going to get it down. I say we're going to get it down. The second giant is poor economic growth. Our economy is not growing big enough. Our economy is not creating jobs. But South Africa, we believe, deserves a vibrant and healthy economy where jobs and opportunities are in abundance and everyone is able to benefit. Last night, when we went to where I stay, a government village, it was dark. Yeah, it was dark. And obviously, if MPs are living in villages where there is no electricity, can you imagine what ordinary people are going through? I had to throw some vegetables that were in the fridge. How many people are inconvenienced by the Eskom crisis we have in South Africa? Now, Eskom, this crisis has become a major hindrance to economic growth. Because when the lights go off, small businesses are crippled. They can't do anything. At least big business, some of them have generators. But how many people have generators? And those who do not have generators are suffering. No income, no food. And so we are saying the government, the present government, starting from the president, have to take responsibility for what is happening. We must demand that they take responsibility. When I spoke in Parliament the other day, referring to Eskom crisis, responding to the President's State of the Nation address, I suggested to the President to apologize to the nation for what we are going through right now. He didn't accept it. He didn't apologize. But we're going to come back to that. You know that load shedding sends a negative message to potential investors who are concerned about the loss of production, time, and revenue. If you are able to invest in South Africa or in any country, and you realize that the country you want to invest has erratic electricity, sometimes on, sometimes off, and many times you don't even know for how long, how many would invest in such a country. We in the ACDP were surprised when President Ramaphosa said he was angry and shocked at the crisis. And we asked the question, President, where do you live? Traveling all over the world where there is electricity. And saying he's surprised and shocked and angry that there is no electricity in South Africa. Now, we reminded the President, and we want to remind him again, and the people of South Africa, particularly the voters, want to remind them that President Ramaphosa was involved with Eskom since 2014. And he chaired the Eskom war room at the height of state capture. So, in our view, President Ramaphosa is not accepting political responsibility for the crisis we are in. The ANC, I'm sure some of you have heard, that they are blaming sabotage. Actually, I thought they were going to say third force. They used to blame third force for everything. Now it's no more third force. They are saying sabotage. But we believe the ANC itself has sabotaged Eskom. It is the ANC itself that has sabotaged what used to be a global power utility over the years that was highly respected. They also have sabotaged Eskom by enabling industrial scale looting and plundering by the Guptas and their families and their friends. So we again are saying President Ramaphosa and the ANC must be held accountable for aiding and abating the Eskom meltdown. As you are voters, and as I'm a voter, and as millions of voters are watching and listening, most of them, if not all of them, will tell you they are tired of living in darkness. They are tired of throwing out food that has gone stale because the fridge has gone off. They are tired of losing electronic equipment because a lot of TVs and others are breaking. And government is not doing anything to refund or to help. So we are tired of that. And so we are saying to South Africans who are tired, are you tired? So if we are all tired of load shedding and tired of food that gets lost, then we must say we want change. I say we must say we want change. Can you all say we want change? We want change. Now, we want change now. The 8th of May, tell your friends, tell your neighbors that we are tired. We want change. Now, I can assure you, if we do not vote the ANC out of government, then load shedding is going to remain with us for many years to come. Now, if we don't want it, they caused it. We have heard some of the leaders say, we acknowledge our mistakes, give us chance to rectify our mistakes. Friends, they were given 25 years. They were given 25 years. I was surprised the other day I was driving in our town in Boksburg. I hit a bad pothole in the city center. Our city centers never used to have potholes. Infrastructure is collapsing. A number of buildings have tasted paint in the 90s. Wat gaan aan mensen? There has to be what? Now, we also want to remind South Africans, particularly Christians that have been under and supporting the ANC. Proverbs chapter 29 verse 2 says, when the righteous are in authority, people rejoice. And when the wicked rule, people mourn. Now, obviously, I'm not from Cape Town, so I want to ask the Cape Townians a question. Are the people of Cape Town celebrating, rejoicing, or mourning? Be honest. Be honest. Are the people mourning? Now, if we want rejoicing in Cape Town, we want rejoicing in Western Cape, we want rejoicing in South Africa, what must happen? What must happen? The righteous must be in authority. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to start saying 25 years is too long. 25 years is too long. We want to make sure that our children and grandchildren grow up in a country where they will not fear to walk in the streets. Our children must grow up in a country where parents would relax when they are playing even in the streets, knowing that our children are safe. But that is not the case, unfortunately. So we are saying because people are not celebrating, they are not rejoicing, but they are mourning. It is time for change. It is time for change. And obviously, we want to get the ruling party that has been given opportunity, 25 years opportunity, we want to get them out. You agree with me? Now, the last thing maybe I must say about ESCOM. Do you know, ladies and gentlemen, that in 2001, ESCOM was named the Financial Times Power Company of the Year at the Global Energy Award ceremony in New York. 2001, ESCOM was the best. Now, what happened? All right? Now, some are saying Guptas. It's not only the Guptas. It's not only the Guptas. Now, here is another problem that I want to tell you about. Here is another problem I want to tell you about. I say obsession with race politics. Obsession with race politics is one of the reasons we have the mess with ESCOM. Why? Because some of the experienced white people, experienced engineers. Now, please, in the back of your mind, remember what I said to you. That in 2001, ESCOM won the Financial Times Power Company of the Year award. It was a global energy award. Other companies were represented, and ESCOM beat them all. That time, it was when we still had engineers that were experienced. And because of obsession with race politics, whiteys were replaced with darkies. Now, ladies and gentlemen, somebody said to me I should not use the word darky, it's not nice. Okay, those who are offended by darky, forgive me, I guess a darky. Because I am dark. I can call my wife, you look at her, she's what? Dark. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this thing called race politics is causing people to be denied opportunities because of the color of their skin. And ACDP does not agree with that. ACDP believes skills and experience, whether it is black people that have it, white people that have it, colored people that have it, Indians that have it, we want all the expertise of all South Africans. All experience of all South Africans. Can I have a skilled colored to come and stand with me quickly? You know you're skilled, you're colored, please come. Helena, is Helena skilled? Are you skilled? Can I have a skilled black person to come and stand with me? Black, skilled. Can I have a skilled Indian? Skilled Indian, come. Now, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yeah, sorry, my apology. White. Where's white? Okay. Is it Chinese? Where's the Chinese? Chinaman. Who's out the Chinaman?
Yes, come. Yes, come stand here.
China. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if I ask you what skills they have, you are going to be surprised. Can I ask them? Can you please come? Let's start with you. Not a speech.
No.
Okay. Skill you have?
HR.
What's okay? Explain to those who don't know HR.
Human resources.
Human resources. Okay, thank you. She was white, human resources, Indian.
A doctorate in public administration.
Doctorate in public administration. Indian. Skill?
Police, ambulance and security.
Police, ambulance and security.
Professional project manager.
Professional project manager. Quickly, let's.
Manufacturing. Clinical detergent.
Manufacturing. Okay, wonderful.
3-degree psychometrist.
Wait. 3 degrees what?
And I'm a psychometrist.
And you are psychometrist. Yes. Can you tell them what is psychometrist?
You do more the scientific part of psychology.
Now the Chinese. Chinaman. Okay.
I'm an ear, nose and throat surgeon.
Ear, nose and throat surgeon. He's a specialist. All right? Thank you very much. Give them a hand. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I was trying to make a point. We must move away from race politics. If I can say something on behalf of people on the ground don't care about the color of the person who brings them delivery. People want service delivery. They don't care the color. So, ANC that is so obsessed with color and everything on what? Obsessed with color and race politics. ACDP saying those days are over. We want colors to roll up their sleeves, knowing that I'm needed in South Africa. Indians to roll up their sleeves, knowing that I'm needed in South Africa. White people to roll up their sleeves, knowing that I'm needed in South Africa. One positive thing I heard the president say. He said they are talking to the skilled and experienced white people who left the country and they're in different parts of the world and asking them to come back. Come back to help. Now that's a good thing that we need to commend him for. But we must say, we hope you have learned the lesson. An expensive lesson. That people must not be treated according to the color of their skin. Apartheid treated us according to the color of our skin. Apartheid denied us opportunities because of the color of our skin. We do not want apartheid in reverse. We don't want it. That's why ACDP says every South African must have the right to contribute. Every South African who loves their country must have the right to say, I want my country to succeed and to be a model among nations of the world. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I try to land, because I only gave 2, time is flying. Can we hold time? Hold SABC? Time is flying. Okay, number 3, substandard education and skills development is, lack of skills is a challenge, a giant that we are facing. Substandard education. It is always painful to hear that when it comes to mathematics, science, literacy, South Africa is at the bottom. It is painful to hear that many of our children in grade 5 are battling to read intelligently. Some cannot read, some cannot write. Why? Because they are given substandard education. Now, SABC wants to change that. One of the things we want to do is to adopt a world-class education system such as the Cambridge system. Now, people might ask, why do you talk about Cambridge system? You know, it has been established that Zimbabwe had the best education system on the African continent. Do you know that the majority of science and mathematics teachers in South Africa now are from Zimbabwe? So they had an excellent, now they are messed up. I don't talk about the now, but I talk about the education system they gave to their children. Very educated, very smart. Now, our government gave our children an inferior system. I learned when I was in Standard 1, I could read and write. Standard 1. I could read and write. And not only me, but many people in this place. So ACDP says we are going to adopt a world-class education system. We do not care where the system comes from. We want to give our children the best. We want the best for our children. Somebody asked me about what's happening in the schools regarding teaching prayers and teaching biblical teachings. Now, because we are Christians who understand that being taught, even scriptures in schools, taught us not to steal, taught us not to rape. Are children raped in the schools today? I'm asking a question. The Premier-elect spoke about that. Children are raped. There is no crime that's happening in society that's not happening in the schools. So we do not want to hide the fact that once we have a godly government, prayers and scriptures will be restored in the schools. We are going to reopen teacher training colleges, and we are going to ensure that we have sufficient teachers who teach children what is appropriate, including regarding sex education. We will teach our children that in the beginning, God created Adam and Eve, and not Adam and Steve. Right? We are going to teach that to our children. And my time running out very fast. Let me close by saying another giant is escalating crime. Ladies and gentlemen, my wife and I and a few people from Gauteng a few years ago visited a city called Aziz in Brazil. 3 things that shocked me and made me pray that what I saw there I must see in South Africa in my lifetime. Number 1, whenever we left the meetings where we had church services to go to our residence, we always passed a city park. Almost every day, we saw women and children, 12 midnight, 1 a.m. in the city park, with no man inside. It became a shock, seeing women in a city park, 12 midnight. And we asked our host the question, is this not dangerous? Will they not be raped? And we were told, not in Aziz. We are told that those who want to rape can go to Rio de Janeiro, Sao Paulo, and other places, but not here. So I realized there are places where women and children are not raped. That was the first thing. Second thing that surprised us. Opposite our residence was a tavern or a shebeen. One Saturday morning, a man came with a push me before I go car. In the township we call it Skorogoro. Push me before I go. So he came and parked this car in front of our residence, left the car idling, went across the road into the tavern. I looked at my watch. For 20 minutes he was drinking, and the car was standing idling in front of us. And we asked the host, won't this car be stolen? The answer was, not in Aziz. And then they asked us the question, are cars stolen in South Africa? We said, you know, in South Africa they steal cars, even those with gorilla, the steering wheel. They thought alles, car, gorilla, alles, elephant. And sometimes they take you also, right? That's South Africa. Elephant, alles. All right? Now, I saw, and I was in a place where cars were not stolen. Cars are not stolen. I ask myself a question, is it possible in South Africa? Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, if we have a godly government, I promise you, these things are going to come to an end. But let me tell you the third last thing that shocked us. The mayor hosted lunch for us a day before we left. And after he gave his speech, he said, any questions? My question to the mayor was, are there no poor people in Aziz? Because he said, why? Because we have poor people. I said, no, it's because since we came here, we never saw a street beggar. We never saw a homeless person. Don't you have poor people? The mayor said, we have them. And I asked, how do you deal with them? The mayor said, we operate from the premise that everybody has a family. So he said, we have a center where we take homeless people to for maximum 14 days. And he said, during those 14 days, they trace the family members of this person they found in the street. And when they find the family, they bring the family together with social workers and counsel the people, bring reconciliation. And if there is no food, they assist that family with food until they can find the job. I looked at that and said, wouldn't it be beautiful in South Africa not to have people sleeping in the streets, not to have people moving from one dustbin to the other? Ladies and gentlemen, South Africa is a wealthy country. There is enough for everybody. But we have too many thieves, we have too many looters, we have too many people, politicians who don't care. Now is the time to say we want change. Now is the time to say we want a godly government for South Africa. The Lord bless you. The Lord bless South Africa. Thank you very much.
Halala President Meshoe, halala! Halala President Kenneth Meshoe, halala! Family ACDP family! Chencha, chencha, chencha ACDP, chencha, chencha. All right, can we say before we go to change as ACDP? The Holy Spirit us come down and Africa will be set. The Holy Spirit, the Holy Spirit.
All right, so we're going to start to leave those pictures. There's another launch that's taking place as well in the Eastern Cape, and we're crossing there shortly. But that was the Reverend Kenneth Meshoe, who's the leader of the ACDP, doing his party's launch in Kuils River in the Western Cape. And he spoke at great length about what he sees as 7 huge giants that are preventing prosperity and growth in the country. And he spoke about 3 of them in particular, and he sees his party as the David who's going to bring down the Goliath of these giants. And he started with the high unemployment rate in the country, and that there are too few job opportunities. He said that his promise is his party will create an enabling environment, particularly for small businesses to thrive. He talked about educating people for the right skills that are needed in the business environment. He said that kids, when they leave school, the questions they should be asking themselves is building a business, starting a business, and not looking for a job. He says that under the ACDP, the plan of the NDP of 90% jobs created by small business will become a reality. So fostering entrepreneurship, training and skilling